Any questions of Coach?
That's it? 3 questions? Maybe that's because you have us ranked last. That's all what you think of us. So we get that message. Thank you.
I would like to take whoever those writers were that voted on that, hold them upside down by their ankles, and smack their heads off the ground a couple times because they don't know. Something happens when you put a whistle around your neck. There's a phenomenon that happens there. Kids, they listen to you. I'm either sleeping, smoking a cigar on my deck, or I am visiting with business and political leaders. This is the outfit for game day. Get used to it because I am wearing it during the games.
We're a gritty football team.
That's who we are.
I actually wore a polo out to the team picture, and they revolted. They didn't want to take the picture, so I went in, changed into this.
Our defense is freaking off the charts.
I shave all the hair off my body for football season.
And the special teams were great today.
We need a freaking ice cream company in this town. Bring out and comp us with ice cream every day during camp.
We're 1-0.
1-0. Gritty as can be. Gritty as can be.
Charlotte head coach Biff Poggi is easily the most fascinating figure in the sport of college football. He has only been a head coach in the sport for less than a year. Last November, Charlotte hired him, and honestly, in less than a year, he has made Charlotte really interesting. Now maybe they are interesting because of their head coach. Biff Poggi is a fascinating guy. Whether it's the fact that he wears a cut-off t-shirt while coaching the game, more specifically with a cut in the collar to form a V-neck, or his iconic moment at the American Conference Media Day when he freaked out over not getting any questions, whether it's the fact that he has ice cream parties after practice, he sometimes posts cookie reviews.
Doing a cookie review. My God. 7.2. Cookie review, 8.4.
10 out of 10.
Really? I'm an 8.4.
Or the fact that his Twitter profile picture is a picture that he took of an egg to replace the auto-generated egg. Whether it's the fact that he always has a cigar in his mouth, or the fact that he is a hedge fund manager, which some of his players are currently running that hedge fund right now. Yes, you heard me right. Biff Poggi is absolutely unlike anybody in the sport. He is a fantastic character, and it was time for me to finally make a video about him. Now, Charlotte football has a very short history. This is going to be their 10th season of the program, which started up in 2013. Now, despite only having one winning season in their school's history, they've made the jump from independent to Conference USA to the American. And Biff Poggi has his eyes set not on just winning the conference, but making the college football playoff. Yes, he said that. But while doing research on this video, I thought Biff Poggi was just an older guy that just seems like a fun-loving college football coach. But in reality, he actually might be one of the greatest human beings you could find. So let's talk about Biff Poggi. To understand who Biff Poggi is, we quickly have to go back in time. Francis Biff Poggi always wanted to be a football coach, having played college football at Pittsburgh with Dan Marino, and then transferring and finishing his career at Duke. Biff Poggi went into coaching. He spent some time coaching at schools like Brown, Temple, and the Citadel, and then becoming a high school coach and a teacher. The problem is that Coach had recently gotten married and was about to start a family, and his father-in-law tried to get him to go into financial services with him to give his daughter a better lifestyle. So Biff listened. He sacrificed what he loved for his family, and it turned out to be a great investment. He got a $25,000 stake from his father-in-law, and Biff Poggi made millions at Samuel James Ltd., an investment firm in Baltimore, by selling stocks before the crash of 1987. The art and science of investing is what worked for him, even though Coach Poggi says that he wasn't very great at school, especially in some of the core elements like math. But gladly for him, the firm took off, and it turned out to be an incredible career choice. But once the firm was really established and the money was set, Biff Poggi got back into coaching. He started at Gilman School, his alma mater, where he led them to 13 state titles in 19 seasons. During that time, Coach Poggi raised 4 sons that all played Division I college football, and one of his sons went on to play for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. And actually, Coach Poggi went to Michigan to coach there for a season in 2016. But after that one season in 2017, Coach Poggi decided he wanted to give back more, especially to his community, and he did so through the game of football. He went back into high school coaching, leading St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, which was in a pretty tough area. Now, Coach Poggi is Baltimore through and through, and he wanted to invest a lot of his money and time into this school to try to help give these players better lives and change their course of history. He served on the board at the school. He gave 65 of his players' scholarships in his time there. Some of his players went on to play at Alabama, LSU, Notre Dame, and Michigan. He hired math teachers and English teachers and academic support. He turned St. Francis into a powerhouse. And HBO made a documentary about his team, The Cost of Winning, which came out in 2020, which I think all of you should go and watch, which is why I'm not trying to give every single detail about his time at St. Francis. What Coach Poggi did there is nothing short of a miracle, and it really goes to show just how great of a human being this man is. Now, Coach Poggi spent 4 years at St. Francis, but Jim Harbaugh, after having a very rough 2020 season, called up Coach Poggi and again asked him if he could come back to Michigan, and he said he would only do it if St. Francis could get taken care of, and that ended up happening, and Coach Poggi went back to Michigan, where he spent the past 2 seasons in 2021 and 2022. In those 2 years, they made the college football playoff, and it has been said that Coach Poggi was a huge reason why Michigan was able to turn around their culture. But something that Coach Poggi always wanted to do was be his own head coach at an FBS school. But the thing is that Charlotte didn't even have him as their first guy on mind. It was actually a search firm that helped them find Biff. This also wasn't even the first time Biff Poggi ever interviewed to be a head coach. Last year, he finished second in the running for the UConn job, ultimately losing to Jim Mora. Now, Coach Poggi made an interesting pitch to the athletic director at Charlotte. Poggi accepted the job without asking about salary, and apparently Poggi says he will donate around $500,000 of his own money to the football program to help with staffing and to bridge the fundraising gap. In his intro press conference, Coach Poggi said out loud that he expects Charlotte to be a national power.
I expect us to be a national power.
But what was more interesting to me was that he called himself one of the football coaches at Charlotte, not specifically the head coach.
My name is Biff Poggi, and I'm one of the football coaches at Charlotte.
Which I've honestly never heard a head coach say, which is what makes Coach Poggi one of the few good ones. Because the whole reason that he is at Charlotte is to change players' lives. Obviously, he wants to win games, and he said to the athletic director that if they don't, he should be fired. But he's also said that he would rather lose every game, but impact his players' lives, rather than winning every game. Now, if you want to play at Charlotte, it's a different football experience from most places. He calls his recruiting pitch to come to play there an anti-recruiting pitch. He doesn't even talk football. He creates a vision for his players so they can become good fathers, husbands, and members of the community. Building men for others is his pitch. And when you come to play for him, he has a mandatory financial literacy course that his players have to take. And after that, he has his players do an 8-week internship downtown for the juniors and seniors and do 8 weeks worth of training because Charlotte is a financial city and he's trying to help build his players and the community. He calls himself a transformational coach, not a transactional coach. He's always asking about his players, and his entire goal is to change his players' lives. He gets a report of everyone's grades every Tuesday. He wants them to get a better education and help his guys find something they love more than football. But all of this fantastic stuff that I've mentioned was not reality at first. It was hard getting his culture installed a few months ago. To start out the spring, practices were not going well. It wasn't easy. It was reported fights were breaking out. Poggi lost his mind on the team. There was lots of change, and this team was full of new guys, whether it was transfers, players from the previous year, or even some guys that Poggi brought from St. Francis. But things have drastically turned around. And a big reason why is because of how much everybody was doubting them and predicting they would only win 2 games and finish last in conference. And since that American Media Day, Coach Poggi has been calling his group bad company.
They are very bad company.
And they've got the ball rolling, and this team has momentum on their side. They sold out their first game of the season. The fan support has been great. Everybody showed out their first game of the season wearing cutoff shirts, and they have started their season 1-0. But the media buzz around this group is only going to grow because ESPN is doing a documentary series called Mining for Greatness, and Coach Poggi said that he wants 15 episodes because he thinks they're going to play 15 games this season. And this is made by the same crew that made the HBO series about his time at St. Francis. Biff Poggi is really unlike anybody in the sport, and I can't wait to watch how this season unfolds. And it's going to be hard not to cheer for this Charlotte program, and I'm very fascinated to see what the future holds for them. Thank you so much for watching. That is Biff Poggi for you. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.